So even though we're going to hide our radio buttons eventually, let's keep them visible until we get all of our styling squared away so that we know when an option is selected or not. So I'll start by adjusting the font here so we match this. So let's use our class here for our type input. I'll jump to our CSS partial, and let's go ahead and add this inside of the contact form selector. We'll do an ampersand type to pull in contact form and then append type. And now we're going to adjust the look of the labels. So let's add a selector for label, and let's change the font size. If we do a quick measurement of one of the big letters here, it's about 18 pixels. So we'll try 18 pixels first. And of course, we'll use REMs. And the color looks like it's probably right. So let's save this and refresh it in the browser. Okay, the font needs to be bigger. So let's inspect the element and we'll adjust the font size. Let's use pixels. I'll use 20 pixels. All right, that looks pretty close. Let's jump up to 22. All right, I think 20 is closer. And I think we're gonna have the same letter spacing as we have in the other text, which I think was 0.1 EM. Okay, so that looks about right. So we'll adjust this so that it's 20 pixels and we'll add some letter spacing. All right, and then I'll refresh. Looks good. And now let's use the trick that we used with our phone icon and account icons and use a Font Awesome icon with the content attribute to plug it in before this text. So we'll go to the label here and we're going to use the ampersand to pull in the selector, and then we'll use the before pseudo selector. Then we'll use the content property. Now let's go to our Font Awesome cheat sheet. Here we go. And let's search for check. Okay, so we want a circle with a check mark in it. So we'll just copy the code here. Again, it's everything between the X and the semicolon. And for the content, we'll use a backslash, paste in that code. And then we also need to set this to use the Font Awesome font family. So use font family, and then we'll select Font Awesome. Let's save this, go back to our example and refresh. Okay, not bad. We need to adjust the size up just a little bit. So I'm going to inspect this element and I'll select the before pseudo selector here. Let's play with the font size. So the font size right now is 20 pixels. So let's try 22 pixels. All right, maybe a bit bigger, 24. Okay, that looks just about right. But I think we need a little bit more space between the check and the label. So let's add margin right. Let's do 0.1 EMs. Let's see what 0.2 looks like. So I think 0.1 is the closest to the mockup. So let's move this over to our styles over here. So we'll change the font size and we'll use rems and pass it 24 for 24 pixels. And then we'll add our margin. Let's refresh. Looks good. So now let's adjust the color to match the color here. Now if we look at our color palette in our variables partial, we have a blue already. So let's try using that. So I'll go down here and add color, and I'll use our blue variable, save it, refresh. And now this blue is a bit different than this one, but as a front-end developer, we're going to err on the side of consistency, considering it likely that the developer was just using slight variations of what they intended to be the same color. Also, since we're talking about variations, this checkmark is a bit bigger than this one. And the designer might tell us that having a smaller checkmark is critical to the look and feel. But we're going to err on the side of consistency in using the same icons from a single icon font instead of pulling in additional icons from other fonts. As a front-end developer, we're kind of the gatekeeper when it comes to performance. So we're going to stick to using a single font instead of having to load multiple fonts for our site.